Good morning, everyone. I'm Jenny, and as usual, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I appreciate and I'm so grateful for every single one of you guys. Now, if you want to get these content of videos and so on and live readings, make sure you hit that subscribe button in the corner there to get these notifications. Of course. So this week, now, as I'm going to talk about what's going on daily. What can you expect? I'm going to give some insights into, like zodiac signs, what I'm seeing that's going to happen for you guys, because we have this full moon in Virgo. Like, we have the eclipse season, we have Mercury retrograde, we have like Venus retrograde. Like, oh my gosh, it's a huge, explosive month. Like, this is a life changing month, and for those of you who have watched, like my Cosmic Vibes series, and especially last week's Cosmic Vibes with the eclipse, I would go back and also review that video. Okay, because this eclipse season, like when there's an eclipse season, expect the unexpected. Shocking events happen, all of a sudden endings, all of a sudden this and that, right? I've already heard from certain people like, oh my God, Jenny, this has already happened. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming, right? This is when the eclipse steps in, the universe steps in and start making changes. Certain things that were out of kilter, let's say, it's like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden this ended or that ended, or we had to go back for this surgical procedure, or all of a sudden, like whatever it is, that's the eclipse trying to put things back together for you. If you've been working with the energy, right? Like we all have stuff we have to deal with. This is the month that I booked specific appointments that I don't want to deal with, but I know I have to deal with, right? Because when you do that and are moving forward on like your difficulties or challenges, or that, the eclipse will work with you, because the eclipse with Mercury retrograde, what was out of alignment is going to come back into balance for you. So, but it can also bring like shocking events. But what's shocking nowadays? Seriously, like really, what is shocking nowadays? But of course, you're going to see that more, and even when I did my year predictions video, you can go back and watch that. That I think was put out December 2024 or 2024. Certain events have already happened and are taking place. I've given several warnings and such like that, right? As we're moving into a year of conflict, we're going to end it more so in peace. There's a lot happening. Even right now, take a look at the tariff wars and such like that. And like March, April, and May, it can be really difficult. Stock market crashes, as I had mentioned way before, especially with the tariffs and stuff like that. A lot of people are pulling out. A lot of people are like all of these things. Even here in Canada, our dollar is shit, but that's the government of Canada, right, that created this mess. Don't get me going. But anyways, right, there's a lot happening right now. Like the eclipse can also bring in earthquakes. It can bring in tsunamis. It shakes up the earth. It shakes up absolutely everything. You, your animals, Mother Earth, you know what I mean? Earthquakes, as I mentioned, I talked about that quite some time ago in a few of my videos. There's, like major earthquakes coming, so on and so on. We're starting to get pre-signs with things and all kinds of stuff that are happening, right? So whenever I'm feeling that unbalance with Mother Nature somehow, the first thing I do is I scan the energy of the area location, and I send out my angelic team asking for prayers, everything. And also for you guys, if you're going through troubles and such, let me know, because I do call upon my angelic team to go and help you and wrap their wings around you to give you extra support and healing and so on and so on and so on. So, by all means, make some comments and let me know, like if there's certain things you're going through. And you can always book a reading with me if you'd like as well, right? I'm a clairvoyant psychic medium. Astrological records, animal communicator, and so on, right? Sometimes we just need those confirmations as to, are we on the right track? Like, why is this happening? And so on. Because certain things that aren't working, you're not supposed to be there anymore. You're not supposed to be a part of that anymore, right? Like, whatever it is. So, really, really pay attention to what is really off balance and not working and such like that, right? So the universe will remove things, boom, just like that. It's like ending suddenly with relationships, with jobs, with like whatever it is. However, don't freak out because that eclipse of the energy of of the universe with the eclipse and so on can bring in really wonderful surprises for you, right? All of a sudden you could find out that issue you had, that problem you had, it's now gone. You could win a lotto. Like anything could happen in a positive way. That's why it's really important to really work with this energy right now. Don't sweep things under the rug. If there's something that you have to resolve with people or with situations, or a relationship or a job, whatever it is, really be honest and open and say, you know what, I have some concerns here, or this isn't working. Always speak from your heart the truth with the right intentions. Because what karma you send out to others, it does come back, right? It always does. And with Mercury retrograde, we have people from our past coming back. That's up to you how you want to handle that situation. You're going to find like technical and electronical issues, delays, and so on. Mercury retrograde officially starts on the 15th of March. However, it's that pre-shadow period that we have seen that had already started, right? That can be worse than the actual retrograde. Venus retrograde as well is a time for healing relationships all in general with your partner, your person. It could be with friendships. It could be with, like all of that kind of stuff. And it's all about cutting karmic ties. Expect the unexpected, right? Maybe there's certain people or relationships or jobs that you're like, this just isn't working out for me anymore. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just time for me to take a break from everything, or maybe it's just time that we say our goodbyes. And, I'm always grateful for that. Everything. Karmic toxic connections, that is the time, expect the unexpected, right? All of a sudden, boom, your partner could say, this isn't working, or maybe you want to say that to your person. Don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. That eclipse will shake things up, right? You very well could have somebody from your past coming back and say, hey, let's get together. You could be like, oh my God, they're single, right? Like just anything could happen in a really positive way, right? So it depends how you look at things. It depends what you're working on. Putting things under the rug, leaving things aside, that's when it's going to sneak up for you. And you're like, oh my God. So if you do look back to July, August, September 2023, if you can remember what certain events were going on then of more significance, endings, beginnings, if it was deaths, if like whatever, right? You very well could have similar themes coming up right now with what happened back then. You're going to be like, I want to heal my relationship with my friend or my person, or maybe I need to end or start, or like so many things, right? We all have experienced different levels and so on and so on. But with the energy of Mercury retrograde too, this is the time to slow down. Don't be rushing anything. I've set more long terms. And with this being a universal 9 year, this is a year to make long term goals rather than short term goals, right? Make your short term goals and your long term goals. But like, even with myself, I'm making more long term goals myself. I'm going to be moving on and I'm going to be saying a lot of goodbyes. I can tell you that. I ain't coming back. So there's certain things that we're working on that takes time. In order to find out what we want, we have to go through certain things, endings, or gee, I thought I wanted that, but I don't want that anymore, right? Whatever it is, you're going to know. Because when this full moon's coming up here in Virgo, You're going to want to be more open. You're going to want to feel that, I really, really want to organize. You know, I actually looked at yesterday when I had to book one of my appointments that I didn't want to deal with. Wasn't really paying attention because I had a few appointments I had to book. And then I'm like, oh my God, of all days, that's the day of the full moon. I have to deal with that. Oh my God. Right. But I'm like, okay, let's make that energy work and work. So it could get emotional, but it depends how you look at it. It's like, okay, I kind of already know what to expect, right? But it can be that expect the unexpected as well, right? So it's like I do my own, oh my gosh, my Lord, like my angels be with me that day, just certain times. And this is a month to also really focus on your health and well-being, emotional well-being, mental, physical, and so on and so on. A lot of my appointments are all health, wellness connected as well. About 70% of those, there's that other half that will be like, oh my God, right? But don't run from things. Really, really embrace yourself with it. Really embrace yourself with it. With certain things, whatever it is that are going on. I keep a lot of things to myself, of course. And, you're seeing who was there for you, who wasn't there for you. You know what I mean? Really, really pay attention to that because this is time when you take charge, especially with this full moon. When this full moon in Virgo, that's like lunar eclipse coming in, like more truth is coming out on that day. Like it really is. So whatever was hidden or you thought was resolved, or you're like, gee, wonder like what is going on or what happened, that very well could boom right there. That truth will get exposed, no matter what it is. People talking behind your back, that's going to come out more. More truth around the world. Surprise, surprise. It's going to come out more. Like, just really pay attention to what is really happening with it, right? And just observe, because the eclipse is really going to take you where you're supposed to be. You have to trust that process. You really do. It can be like a huge shift, a huge breakaway. And you might feel that, you know what, I really want to get grounded more. You know, maybe you want to go for a hike. Maybe you want to get more in touch with Mother Nature. You're going to also want some space and time to yourself as well. Like I'm a very nature person. I do like photography, and I'll go in nature and such like that. And people like, can I come? And I'm like, no. I mean, it's not nothing against that person, but this is my time for me. This is one of my ways I meditate. And whenever you're exploring and getting out there, you start hearing messages coming through from Mother Nature, as I call it, right? And then you're like, I know I need to make that decision. I know I need to end this. I know I need to start that. And don't be so hard on yourself. We all do things that we're like, God, why did I do this? Why did I allow that energy to really bother me, to the fact that now I've slid backwards? Like, no matter what it is, just pick yourself back up off the ground. Just continue on your journey. Get rid of those people that have held you back, that have made you feel that, wow, I can't be myself. I have to walk on eggshells. Those aren't your people. And that's the thing, like truths will be exposed, certain things, certain friends you thought were so-called friends, more truth is coming out, more and more and more, and so on and so on and so on, right? So it's up to you, of course. Never judge anybody on their journey. We all have our own path to walk. So I'm just going to give a little bit of insights before I talk about every single day this week, what the cosmic events, what's going to happen. Let's talk about this full moon, because this full moon, as I said, it's going to be powerful. Your sleep is going to be off. So now if you're an Aries, you're going to find that your focus is going to be more on your home environment. You're going to be like, you know what? I need to take some time out for me. Maybe you're going to go to a spa. Maybe you're just going to turn your phones off, setting boundaries more. You're going to be like, I just need space for me. And that could be really much involved with work environments too, where you're at. You could be like, wow, I need to make some changes with that. But I'm just going to really kind of, take time out for me. So really pay attention to that. Like, you're going to find, like, if you are a Taurus, that you're going to be bringing a lot of closures, especially from the past 6 months. So really take a look back what you were doing and started 6 months ago, and if it was a project, let's just say a goal that you started 6 months ago, you very well could see these results right now on this full moon. Like maybe if you're doing a home renovation, for instance, you very well could see, wow, you know, I can actually see like, the renovations I did. If you had set goals, maybe you're seeing that it's finishing now. So pay attention to that. And especially too, there's going to be more romance highlighted for you. Maybe people from the past coming back, right? Or whatever it is. Maybe you're like, I got to get my groove on, right? So that's what's going to be happening more so for you. So if you're a Gemini, you're going to be changing more of your habits. Like we all have habits with certain things, right? So you're going to be like, you know what? I'm bored, or I'm really conflicted. You're going to start making, okay, this is what my normal day is like. I do this and this and that. You're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to revamp that. I'm going to really even also, maybe I'm going to redecorate my place. Maybe I want to paint the walls. Maybe I want to, like whatever it is. You could find that you're going to be even more focused on home that day, like your environment of, I'm going to start, maybe changing my room around, or, spring cleaning, or like all of that kind of stuff, right? You're going to know what pull you're feeling. Now, if you're Cancer, you're going to find that your emotions could be a little bit higher that day, right? Whatever happens, you're going to want to get more clarity. You're going to want to see more of the facts being shown to you. Truth very well could be exposed, and it could be like, oh my gosh, it could be more of an emotional day. So you very well are going to be showing what's the reality is, what's been hidden from you. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh. But don't freak out, of course, because when certain things come to the surface, it's like, okay, work with the eclipse. It's time to resolve these situations. Mercury retrograde is a time to resolve situations, revamp, all of that. So when you work with these energies, the energies will work with you. So with the Leo, you're going to find that, you know what, there's some unresolved issues here that I have to get resolved. If it's unresolved business issues, no matter what it is, you're going to be wanting to do that. You're going to be looking at your self-worth more. You're going to be looking at your values of, what's important? Is this really, really working for me? Maybe it's time that I have to like walk away from this, or this person isn't appreciating me anymore, like whatever it is, right? So really pay attention to resolving it, not walking away. Like I'm saying, this eclipse, don't walk away from what you are looking at, the truth. It's going to follow you, and it'll get worse and worse and worse. With Virgos, with it being a Virgo moon, of course, it could be more emotional. You're going to be like, what started 6 months ago? Take a look back then. What was going on 6 months ago, right? Look where you are now. Like, look at where you are now. It's resolved. You could be healing. You could be like, oh my God, I'm glad that's over with. Like, oh my God. Or if you're working on a project or a goal, of course, this is when it's like, boom, what you are doing now, you're really, really, really going to see that flourish onto 2026, 2027. Like you're really setting yourself up for a lot of success. So it's like sometimes we have to go through things in order to get to where we need to be. And the universe is like, no, we're going to throw you in the fire because we want to see you be successful, heal that, clear that, to move on, and so on. Right. So I'm hearing millionaires as well. So some of you Virgos, not all, of course, if it was a specific goal or project, let's say, that you are working on, you very well could be like, wow, I'm almost close to $1 million in sales, let's just say, right? So you're going to start seeing those successes as well. So you can start celebrating. You're going to be like, oh my God, like, holy smoly, like my income just tripled, or my income just went up 100 times, and so on and so on. right? So, it's very interesting. So if you're a Libra, just use a lot more common sense during this full moon, right? It's really, really important. You very well could be finding that you're doing a lot more reflecting. Once upon a time ago, this was happening. Memories of friendships or, family or people that have passed on, or once upon a time ago, this is what was happening in my life. And it might also bring some new insights into you and take a look back at, like nobody's perfect, of course. We all do things, say things, our actions, our behaviors and so on. We're like, oh my God, what did I do that? Or why did I say that? Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. We all say things and do things. And we're like, oh my gosh, don't be hard on yourself. And that goes for everybody. You know what I mean? It's like, God, I can't believe I'm now like back to where I started, and all that hard work I did, it's gone. We all go through those times. Nobody's perfect. Nobody is perfect, right? So, where if you're a Scorpio, you're going to want to be with more positive people. You're going to want to be like, you know what? I have no time for that. I have no time for this. You're really going to be letting go of what was restricting you, what was really, really holding you back. You're going to be like, no, no, I'm moving on. I'm moving on. So when you let go of the wrong people, the right people appear, as I'm always saying, which is so true, which is so very true. You know, Sagittarius, I can tell you, you're going to come into some recognition for your work. If those of you who are working with media, or let's say social media, you're going to be more in the spotlight. You could find that, wow, all of a sudden I got all these followers, let's say. Maybe with your work and you're getting a promotion. You're getting like, wow, your work is amazing. You're going to get acknowledged for your work. And what I would be very, very careful of is be careful what you wish for. We can make wishes, right? However, you got to be very specific. Oh, I'm wishing for that. Boom, there you go. And you're like, oh my God, my wish came true. And then you're like, oh, I don't know. Wow. So it's really important to be very specific and detailed with what you want, because there's going to be some endings suddenly. However, when there's an ending, a new beginning begins, right? So sometimes we have to end things to open up new doors. And it can be scary at times, right? There's something I might have to end myself, depending on my appointments this month, right? So coming the end of the month, I might be like, sorry, I'm not able to do this anymore because of certain situations. So that's why it's like really stay in the moment of the now and see where it's taking you. And sometimes if we have to close doors that we don't want to close, we can come back at another time and reopen those doors. But when you're getting these signs that, you know what, you have to hold back, you have to let this go for now, it doesn't mean it's forever. Sometimes we have to take those few steps backwards in order to take that giant quantum leap forward. We have to trust the process no matter what. So now for you Capricorns, it's time for you to get out of your comfort zone. There's success coming. You could find it could be a lot more emotional for you, because you're going to start seeing like even like the creativity that you were working on. You're going to be like, wow, this was really in my heart. This is like what I was really passionate about. You could be traveling during this time too on the full moon, or making travel plans. Your creativity, really take advantage of this. No matter if you're like, you know what, I'm getting this ideas like, oh my gosh, write it down. Just write it down. Don't worry about how and when right now. Just keep on moving forward, moving forward. So where if you're Aquarius, you really have to start prioritizing what needs to be done. What commitments have you made to yourself? This is a time for you to say, you know what, because it can get very emotional for you that day. Endings, new beginnings, the eclipse, expect the unexpected. So it's really important to focus on our priorities. Like even these appointments I made this month, just those are priority. That's stuff I can't ignore. These are priority things, right? No matter what, surrender it. But it could be a lot more emotional for you, Aquarian. You could be, even worried about certain like of your relationships. You could be like, oh my God, like this isn't working for me. Is my partner going to end it with me, or do I have to end it with my person? Like, and so on and so on. Just really, really listen to where your soul is guiding you towards. Where if you're Pisces, it's really important to, take a look and reflect around your relationships and don't take other people for granted as much, right? Because you're going to be surprised that truth could hit you boom just like that. And you're going to find that you very well could be also walking away from certain situations. You're going to be changing friendships. You're going to be changing business connections. You're going to be making changes more in relationships, like friendships, business. Like relationships could be with anybody. Do you know what I mean? You could change your delivery company from FedEx to Pure Later, or you know what I mean, right? Like any certain things. So, but you're going to be like, you know what, I got to change this. I'm done, or this isn't working for me, like whatever, right? So really, grab a hold of these energies, you guys. So now let's talk about the weekly. What's happening on March 8th and the 9th, right? Like what is seriously happening on the mind? You might find that your mind might be in conflict more. So when your mind is more in conflict, this is a time to take that time out. Don't jump too far ahead with things. Slow down, slow down. Make sure that before you're making decisions, especially like more major decisions, to really think, write the pros down and the cons down. And if you're going to be like, but I don't know, just write the pros down and cons down. You're going to want to start resolving situations. And Mercury retrograde is the time to resolve situations, rebounce things, all of that stuff. But just kind of take this step back, because the 8th and the 9th, you might be like, I'm not sure. Like, just write it down. You know what I mean? See how it feels. Because when you make, like the right decision, you're going to feel more peaceful about it, no matter how much it might hurt, or, something you don't want to do. It's like, you know what? I know I have to do this. Is it going to be hard and challenging? Yes. However, if you don't do it, there's going to be no changes. So it can be kind of a little bit of, oh my gosh, right? Oh my gosh. So on the 10th and the 11th, you could be like more passionate. You could be like, you know what, maybe work on those passion projects. You could be like, what am I passionate about? What do I really want to change? Like what is my purpose? And for those of you who already know your purpose and such, you very well could see like your abilities are coming out more, your talents are coming out more. You know what I mean? Like if you're a construction worker, let's say, just for an example, you could be like, wow, that looks really good. That home I just built, let's just say, wow, good job. Certain things, like we all have abilities and talents and such. Utilize who you are. You try to be somebody you're not, it won't work for you, because the vibrational frequency will not hold itself. So it will fade away, right? So you might find that you're more drawn to your career. If you're self-employed, of course, the work that you're doing, you might be like, I got to start making changes as well. You might find that you're going to start decluttering your place or your environment, your vehicle, even more, letting things go. I'm constantly doing that as it is myself. I always have for quite some time, right? It's like I had some friend come in here, you got to get rid of some stuff. And I'm like, well, you own your own home, don't you? You have a beautiful big home. I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment. Like, really? You have no comprehension. So don't pay attention to ignorance, as I call it, and arrogance. Pay attention to what works for you. It's like when we do have to declutter things, yeah, I get that. Declutter certain things, all of those things. Keep what you truly need, because it's like certain things that somebody says you should be doing, getting rid of this, and that. It's like, well, I need that for my projects I have. You don't get it. That's the work I do. So what you're saying is you want me to get rid of certain things for you? You live here? Do you know what I mean? Right? So when you start to have to defend yourself, is that a real friend? Is that a supportive friend? Why would you be somebody who you're not? So as you let go of the wrong people, the right people start appearing. You know, it can be sad and stuff, but time to move on. Chop, chop. So as we move into the 12th and the 13th, you're going to be feeling that full moon energy even more and more and more. So your sleep could be off. Really pay attention to your dreams as well. So you're really going to be shown more so what's out of balance. Like, oh my gosh, wow, I have to fix this. Oh my gosh, this isn't working. Like this week, lots of things, this entire month, of course, what's not working is going to come up. And you might find that day even more so. And be very careful that, like, if you have to have a talk with someone, be very careful before of, I got to be more mindful of what I say to this person or how I say it. Because sometimes, our words that we say to somebody can be very, very, very hurtful. And we can struggle with, how could you say that to me? It really hurt me, or you really, all of that, right? And it can be really hard to let go of in a big way, especially when you're very sensitive and stuff. Somebody will just flap their mouth from their ego, blah, 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 blah. But they truly don't know just what they've said to somebody else that's really hurt them. They really don't. So why would you have to defend yourself? For what reason? I'm not going to prove this or that to somebody. Why would I have to? If you don't believe what I'm saying, we're not connected, are we? At all. You don't truly know me. So you're going to find all of these certain things more of a reality check. So that's, the full moon is emotional and stuff like that. So you could have sleepless nights, tossing and turning, overthinking as well. So just pay attention, pay attention to pay attention, right? They could be struggling with their own stuff, of course. Like, don't judge them, don't judge them, but you can take that step back and say, I just can't, I have to set some boundaries, because it seems like whenever I want to talk to you and share what's bothering me, you push me aside, you just throw me to the corner, whatever, whatever, whatever. But yet when you have an issue, you're on the phone, aren't you, to me? Pay attention to that, you guys. Really pay attention to that. There's people that can take you for granted. When you have been there for other people, whenever you reach out to somebody to want to talk to them and they push you, oh, you'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, right? So this week here can be very powerful. Like every day is a new day. Every second is a new second. To end situations, to begin situations, and so on and so on and so on. Right? So it's up to you guys. So I'm going to pull a couple of cards as well from the universe to see what they have for you. I do not use cards with my clients because I'm clairvoyant, psychic. So I read your level of consciousness to see where you're at, what message is coming through from spirit. 24/7 I get messages, but this is YouTube. We're doing it here collectively. So I'm just going to pull a couple of cards, see what messages there for you. So of course, the card, you're going to be like, well, I don't connect with that. Well, it's not for everybody. You think if I pull a card, it's for everybody on the planet? No, of course not. Of course not, right? But some of you might be like, that I real sunflowers. I don't know why I just heard that. Like it's really, really, really loud for some reason. So that's what I'm saying. 24/7, I get messages from spirit. So if somebody's connecting with a sunflower or something connected with a sunflower, let me know, put it in the comments. And if you could like my video, it really helps as well, So now I'm going to pull a couple of cards here. I'm going to be using the past life deck from Doreen Virtue because, we have people from our past coming back, and people from our past can be past life connections. Not all of them are, right? I'm a very, very old soul myself. So a lot of people I connect with, they're past life. Most of them are past life, right? So as we're clearing karmic relationships, Be very careful. Oh, I just met my soulmate. Oh my God. Just because you have chemistry with somebody doesn't mean that's your person. Believe me, that could be very karmic. So that's why whenever somebody says, "Oh, Jeni, I met this person, what's going to happen?" I will give you my insights into who they were in a past life, what happened, where your relationship is going. And it's up to you, of course, to make the decision. And sometimes we have to go through karmic relationships until we're like, I'm done. I have had enough, right? Go on your own flow. So let's shuffle the cards. As I said, make sure you clear the decks before you use them, you guys. So I like the color green. So this is why I chose the green background. Myself, as you know, from my surgery and everything. I'm not going to give the results out if it's negative or positive. So it is what it is. So the 8th to the 14th of March, what can we expect? What's the message from the spirit world, from our past life? Okay, so Father energy. Oh my goodness. Father energy. So whenever there's a father energy around, it very well could be maybe some of you are having a child and you're going to be a father. Maybe you have to have a healing talk between you and your father. Maybe your father who has passed on is stepping forward and has a message for you. If you have any concerns about your father's health, or like that little feeling, something is like, something doesn't feel right with my dad, with my father, go see him, make that phone call, right? Make that phone call. Maybe some of you are ready to be a father now. They're going to be like, I'm ready to have a child. Maybe you want to build that connection closer with your dad. Like, look at that. Look how beautiful that is. I mean, I feel my dad around me a lot, actually. He comes into my dreams, and he came into my dreams again last week it was. And I'm like, oh my God, like what he showed me, I know is 1,000% true. Right. So I'm very grateful when I get these messages incoming from the spirit world, or from messages, from the loved ones and animals and so on and so on. So if your father has passed, let's say, ask him to give you a sign he's with you. I mean, they are with you, but just say, what, Dad, can you please give me a physical sign you're with me? It's easier for them to come into a dream form. I get messages in so many ways, nonstop all day long myself, right, from different things. So, but sometimes it's easier for them to get their message to you to come into a dream. So write down your dreams of, what is going on, everything, as much details as you can write down. So if you want to talk to your dad and resolve things, Mercury retrograde, resolving situations, right? So, or forgive your dad, or like whatever it is, you're going to know how that connects with you. So, let's take a look at romance. Let's talk about romance, because this is a karmic, like people from your past again coming back. It could be for the good or the bad, right? Eclipse season, expect the unexpected. Maybe all of a sudden you will get proposed to, or maybe you're going to be like, you know what, I'm going to propose to my person. So we're going to talk to the romance angels by Doreen Virtue. I really like her decks. I don't use them on people, like I'm saying, I don't need to, but I use them here for my channel specifically. Okay, so the 8th to 14th, what is the message from the romance department? And right away, flirt. Extend your lightheartedness energies to others. How many of you are flirters? How many of you like, once upon a time ago, I used to flirt, but I don't know how to do it anymore. You got to get back on it. Just accept yourself unconditionally. Accept yourself. Maybe you're going to find that, oh my God, that person, they're flirting with me. But just because somebody's flirting with you doesn't mean there's good intentions. So if you're around someone or talking to somebody, and no matter what they're saying. And if your body is like, you know what, something's not right here, pay attention to that. Really pay attention to that. I saw that actually a couple of times, even myself the other day. I pay attention to this kind of stuff, but I'm just using this as examples to try to help you guys. And I just really felt, like his energy had really, really, really changed. Like really changed. I've known him like for 30 years, and I'm like, oh my God, the energy of this world, of what's happened, has affected everybody, not just a couple, everybody, with all that bullshit with COVID and how they created that. And I'm not even going to go on about it, but people change. People, it really changed. Traumatic experiences changes people. So somebody, let's say, could be flirting with you, to try to get that attention, to try to see where they're at. However, they could be flirting with you because they're like, hey, how's it going? How are you doing? So really don't rush into relationships this month. This is not the time with Mercury retrograde. If you have somebody coming back or you meet somebody, of course, during Venus retrograde, don't rush anything. Slow down. Take your time. Take your time. Because with the Mercury retrograde, it can cause things to, like, communication can be off completely and utterly, right? So just slow down, get to know that person 100%. Gee, I got my eyes on somebody, Jeni. Woo! you know? Yes. What? Yes. Yes. Pay attention, right? So let's see what this. Okay, so we're going to talk to the Earth because Virgo energies. Earth Magic by Stephen Farmer. Let's see what messages are for you. Now, I've already cleared these cards, by the way, before I put them down, because if you don't clear them, it's going to stay stuck with the last energy if it was yourself or somebody else used it. So I clear my cards every single time that I use them for these videos here, so we can get a fresh perspective, what message are specifically for collective for you or whoever. 8th to the 14th. Too many flowers. Flowers. Why did I say flowers? Flowers. Yeah, and sunflowers. Like, and there comes that sunflower again. So I don't know. Maybe some of you guys are going to paint flowers, or maybe your logo is the flower, or maybe you should get in touch with nature. Maybe you're starting to see the tulips and flowers coming out where you're at, right? But there's something connected with that, because that's true. 8th to 14th. Oh, right away, that card just flew out. Shaman. Ancient healing wisdom. So I've talked about this many times as well, that there's going to be more natural healing methods that you're going to get drawn into. We have to have the Eastern medicine and the Western medicine, right? Like if I had to have a heart surgery, I'm not going to go to a shaman. No, I would go to the heart surgeon, right? So there's certain things that you can naturally do yourself, of course. So maybe some of you want to clear some past trauma and are ready to. So there's certain people, medicine men, like maybe if it's like natural healing ways, there's so many different ways. Pranic healing, Reiki, the list goes on, but you have to go with what energy suits and feels better for you, right? I'm literally here in Arizona. I'm seeing the teepee there as well. For some reason, shaman medicine. Maybe some of you are wanting to practice being a shaman. So really pay attention to what you're getting drawn to, because your soul's purpose is coming out more and more and more. So walk your path that feels best for you always, no matter what other people say, right? That's why certain decisions I make or certain things I hold back, I keep to myself on purpose. Even if it's somebody I really know, I hold back a lot with giving information because I have my reasons. I have my reasons. It's like, I'm not even going to waste my time talking about this or that because they're not going to get it. Right. So stay true to you. Stay true to you. So now make sure you subscribe to my channel for goodness sakes, you guys. I'm on Instagram, Jeni Ji Cousins. I'm all over social media. Follow me there. And you want to check out my photography, Jeni Ji Photography on Instagram. I have a page where people can buy my prints, but I actually might take that down because I have to pay money for that. So there's certain things like I'm saying I'm cutting out due to the tariffs here in Canada, and the cost of living as it is. We have to start cutting back on certain things of what's working, what's not working, all of those things, right? So, and that could just be temporary, as I'm saying, but it's like staying in the reality, holding the faith, see yourself doing well, create your vision board, as I always say. We can retweak, we can end something and come back full vengeance and be like, yeah, now I want to make all of these changes, let's say, and then boom, you start making those changes when you come back and you're like, wow, this is really working out. So hold on to the faith. Never give up. And if you'd like to book a reading with me, soulworkwithjeni.com. Yep.